Power Hour with John Lee.
Vlad the Impaler. We've all heard of the Vlad lad from Transylvania. Maybe read the book by Bram Stoker, Dracula. I tried watching the film the other day, actually, with Keanu Reeves. Absolutely shite. Fucking awful film. I want to send it off after 20 minutes. Winona's in it as well. Bobbins. Anyway, Vlad the Impaler was born in 1428 in Transylvania. All right. Well, who was he, though? Well, he was royalty. He was the son of Dracula, was the name that he took, Dracula. And who was that? Well, Dracula means dragon. But he wasn't a dragon. There was an organisation at the time of Christians, Orthodox Christians, so they're not Catholics, they're actually against the Catholic Church. They're Orthodox Christians, and they really don't like Muslims and everything Islam has to offer. And I think that was pretty mutual. And they were in a very precarious position, you see, geographically, because Transylvania is part of Romania. At least modern day Romania, what we call Romania now. And on this side, right, as you're looking at me, you've got the kingdom of Hungary. I'm not sure the state. I think the Austrian Empire was pretty fucking strong at the time. But you've got Hungary on one side, and it was not what it is now, which is a decent country, but it was a powerful entity at that time. And on the other side, you've got the Ottomans, who were Turks, and the Ottomans had a massive empire. And they were originally nomadic peeps, the Ottomans. They just went around, living off the land, pretty much grazing. And then I don't know why or how, they just kind of organised and militarised and started building things. And you could say, well, that's what humans did. But in this specific case, these people were known for centuries as just being nomadic people who just stopped doing that and completely changed their entire way of being and established an empire, which only fell in the Second World War. First World War. So this is what happens when you freestyle. Definitely made it into the 20th century. I would say it collapsed in the First World War. Yeah. But we're going back here to the 15th century, when he's born. This is early 15th century, and the Ottomans are extremely powerful. So it's 500 years later that their empire is still rocking. A good 400 years later, it's still a huge empire. That's longer than the United States of America has been in existence. Consider ye that. So they've got these powerhouses of empires on either side of them, and everybody's kind of keen to take that land and conquer that territory. And so Dracula, the leader of the Order of the Dragon, he wants to show his peeps, his subjects, that he is dedicated to the cause of Orthodox Christianity. That's the main thing that he wants to show people. And so he's got two sons. One is Vlad and one is his brother. Can't remember his brother's name. Not bothered what his brother's name was, because he was a nomarch. So to show his loyalty to the cause and his dedication to the cause, what he does, he gets his two sons and he sends them to live with the Turks, with the Ottomans, right? And that's not a good place to be as a Christian. So he's growing up, and they've got all these weird ways, from his perspective. They've got all these weird ways and habits and traditions and languages, religions, things he's just not down with at all. He's only a kid. He's trying to process all this. And, imagine the day when your dad comes and says, look, for strategic reasons that you don't understand yet, we're going to send you to live with these fuckers who want to kill everybody in our country. And they might kill you. So, get packed. And they did. That's what happened. And he went and he made a big song and dance out of it. Dracula wrote a letter that went to the people saying, look, how can you question my loyalty to the cause when I've just sent my 2 sons to live with the enemy. Oh, right, I fucking trust you. You'll do that. And so he grows up there, Vlad, with his brother, but his brother's well into it, you see. He's thinking, all right, so I can be, because, they could have a lot of status there and live quite nicely if they played the game. And his brother thought, yeah, fuck it, I'll play the game. I'll go with it. You know what I mean? I'll have a harem, I'll have a big tent. And I don't really miss me dad who sent me to live with these people anyway, so fuck you. And Vlad, he's kind of, nah, these are the enemy, never forget that. And he grows up with that, hating Islam and hating the Muslims, and he ends up going back to the old Transylvania, right, where he's a prince. Sore throat talking. And he's a prince and he's princing it up and he decides to become a dictator, right? Brutal dictator. Cheeky bastard. Targets women, right? Adulteresses were executed. And thieves, women who were thieves particularly, had their hands chopped off. No, I lie. If they were lazy women got their hands chopped off. Well, you're not using them anyway. Bang. I mean, really. Extreme at any point in history is chopping women's hands off because they're lazy. And torturing and killing peeps on the regular. Just to say, like, yeah, there's a new boss in town and I am not fucking around. And he designed it, this torture style that made him famous for eternity. And that was the impaling. So what he used to do, right, was he used to lie you out on the floor, right? So you're lying out like that on the floor, and they'd get this, like, put you on your side, and they'd tie your hands to the back of one horse and your feet to the back of another horse, okay? And then they'd smack the horses on the arse a bit and make them walk away. So the horses are going like that, and you're in the middle, and you're rising up like that because, obviously they're pulling away. And as you're, like, coming up into the air, they're pushing this spike into your back, which punctures your back, and you go up like that, and you're on, and it goes into you, and it fucking cuts into you. And now you're on this spike, and they jam the spike in the ground, yeah? So now, next thing you know, you're on top of a 20-foot spike, and it's in your back, and it don't kill you instantly. In fact, what tended to kill the people who were on top of that thing was the exposure to the weather, to the elements. It was the cold, it was the rain, it was the sleet, it was the snow, it was fucking winds, and you're not fucking around in Transylvania with bad weather. And they'd leave you up there, and it'd take days, weeks to die in some cases, depending on how they pierced you. And so everybody was terrified of him, and I would have been as well. Definitely. I mean, that's out of my league, that. And what he used to do was, he used to take a golden cup, like a chalice, right? And the typical kind of thing where you'd see, like, the jewels in it, and that'd be very expensive. And everyone would look at that and go, yeah, I think I'll have that. And he'd leave it in the centre of the town, and nobody would take it. Nobody would steal it, right? Because they'd be terrified. If I steal that, I'm fucking dead. I won't get home. I'll be fucking dead, and my family. And so he put one in it in every major town, so people knew. They felt his power. Don't touch the cup. That's Vlad's. You know what I mean? And that was a tremendous psychological weapon that he used. And when his profile was growing, he was being visited. Now, don't forget, he's got the Turks over here all the while. He's got the Hungarians over there. So, it's not an easy job that he's got. And the Turks are always threatening invasion and making incursions and whatnot. And he's always saying, well, come on then, you pack of twats, get up the fucking hill. And people are trying to talk to him about this. And so one time, for example, a Polish ambassador, I suppose, envoy, he went to see him, right? So the Polish guy comes in and they take him through to the back garden. Vlad's out there. And first thing he sees is Vlad sitting at the table and he's got a bowl, right? And he's there with his bread like that, Are you all right, mate? How are you doing? Sit down. Yeah. Do you want some blood? What do you mean, blood? Yeah, yeah. Bowl of blood. Got it out of this boy here. Looks up. Fucking guy on a spike. Like, fucking bowl like that. Get some more blood in there. And dipping his bread in the blood like that. Fucking eating it in front of him. And the guy looks round and he notices there's like 20 of them in his back garden alive on top of these spikes, getting run through. Blood coming down them. Fucking bowls at the bottom of the pole collecting the blood. So Vlad can have some fucking bread with it. Oh my God. And that's where Dracula comes from. That's where the legend of Dracula comes from, and the consumption of blood and all that kind of stuff. Word to the wise, Billy Big Ears, Prince Charles, he fucking brags about being related to this guy, being descended from Vlad the Impaler. Check him out. He does look a bit like him. So what happens? He's rocking it like that for years, and then his brother's making noise. His brother's still alive, making a racket over there in Turkey about, let's go and fucking invade, because then I can be the leader. We'll get my brother out of there, put me in. I'll be the leader, but I'll be your puppet, and I can have all my treats that I normally have, but I'll be the king of my own country, and I'll do whatever you want. And so they went, all right, mate, yeah, fair enough. You just show us the way. So they've gone in, and this is a major, major force, the Ottoman Empire, and they're coming striding up the hill to the fucking Transylvania. And he sends this one force up first, major, major force, the front row boys. And they've gone running in to fight Vlad's army, and they've got wiped out, right? And Vlad and his lads have killed all these Turks, and they're all dead in the field, 23,000 of them, right? So he's put them all on spikes, and I think they're dying and dead, And he's put them all on spikes, and he's got them in this field. Any invader has to go through this field to get there. And he's put 23,000 bodies on spikes in a field. Now you tell me, is that guy fucking mental? Oh, you have to see it in the context. Right, in the context, is he fucking mental? He's got 23,000 people on spikes in a field. He's fucking lunatic, man. And, the Turks have arrived and they've walked into this field and they've seen this. Imagine it, go there. 23,000, it's like a forest of bodies on spikes. Blood falling down on the frosty white grass. Screams that you can't imagine. Blood curdling screams coming out of these people. And the Turks have looked at this and gone, fuck that. Fuck all of that. We're going back to Turkey. And that's what they did. They scarpered. They went back to the old Turkey war. And, Vlad knows the crack. He knows that's not going to stand. He knows they'll be back. And so he fucks off himself. He goes on the run and gets captured by the Hungarians, as I said before, trapped. So he goes one way, away from the Turks. The Hungarians pick him up. And his brother's put in charge, and he is a puppet as well. Vlad's brother. After about 10 years, the Hungarians let him go. And he goes on a mission, and he's, doing his thing, and he's kicking off, and he's trying to take control of his country back, and having a pop at the Ottomans wherever he can. And then eventually they catch him and they kill him, and they chop his head off. And quite ironically, I don't know if they appreciated the irony or not, but they chopped his head off and they put it on a pole and they took it back to Turkey, and they marched around the city with it, showing everyone here. That's Vlad, is that? Seen Vlad? Look at him. And that's how he'll be remembered, head on a stick.